Many people are afraid of snakes. These slithering predators are the things of nightmares for some, and even the fearless Indiana Jones was terrified of them. And there's good reasons why you should be afraid of snakes too. Did you know they can lose their heads and stay alive? Scary stuff indeed. We'll get to that, but first, check out these incredibly deadly snakes. Death adder. If you go walking in Australia, New Guinea, or Indonesia, be sure to watch out for death adders. Unlike other snakes, they hang around waiting for prey to come along. If you see something wiggling, then it could be the death adder's tail, which it uses to grab your attention before going in for the kill. They are regarded as one of the most poisonous types of snake on the planet, as well as the sneakiest. Death adders grow up to 20 inches in length and are reddish-brown in color. Despite there being around 8 species in this fearsome family, they all look similar, which has made studying them pretty difficult. However, in 2015, a science team managed to isolate and find a new one that they christened Acanthopus cryptomedris, or Kimberley death adder, in northwest Australia. By studying death adder DNA and some live subjects, the team eventually concluded this was a noticeably different snake. Bad news for the potential prey out there, but the good news is they tend not to go for humans. Also, because they have no sense of hearing, it's thought they're more deaf adders than death adders. Banded krait. This stripy-looking snake is seen in Hong Kong and on Hong Kong Island. The banded krait stands out due to the yellow and black bands running along its 2-meter-long body. These bands are sometimes black and white. The krait is most active at night, so you need to be extra careful in the dark as this colorful creature is highly venomous. The krait can be found in areas near water, though they are small in number. Luckily for people, they eat lizards and even other snakes, though that doesn't mean one won't lunge at you if it feels threatened. The slow-moving snake can suddenly move rapidly, particularly when slithering away. Snake experts were surprised by it because it adopts a triangular or keel shape. Other snakes make the shape of an S before striking, but the krait doesn't usually do this. You may think you're looking at its head, but that could be the krait's tail. The end of its rounded tail also resembles a head. When it wants to catch potential prey, it hides its real head under its body, so the prey goes for the wrong end and gets a nasty surprise. Common lancehead. The common lancehead isn't called common for nothing. They certainly aren't endangered. However, workers at coffee and banana plantations in Central and South America no doubt wish they were. Lanceheads are on the ground and in the trees of the jungles the plantations operate in. If you happen to be near a river, for example, watch out. A 2.4-meter-long snake may bite you and it will be curtains. Lanceheads eat little and often, and although they prefer smaller prey, they don't mind attacking a bigger intruder. There's a reported case of a worker who was bitten, and he not only passed away, but his wife died because she handled his bite with cuts on her hands. A lancehead is typically packing 150 milligrams of venom, 3 times the amount needed to kill a human. These very deadly snakes hunt at night, even though they don't see very well. In a cruel twist, their sense of temperature means they can detect prey easily in the dark, and they move incredibly fast when they've identified a meal. They're also born at a rate of between 50 and 70 at a time, so this predator isn't going anywhere. Boomslang. If there was a beauty contest for snakes, the boomslang would win it. Why? It's mainly known for having big, attractive eyes that are particularly appealing on the young snakes. Found in sub-Saharan Africa, it can grow to between 1.2 and 1.8 meters in length. The snake hangs out in trees and doesn't have a set type of habitat. The boomslang is famously shy, and its reputation as a predator leaves a lot to be desired. It wasn't until the 1950s that people realized it was dangerous when an unsuspecting zoologist received a fatal bite. He was probably enchanted by the snake's colorful skin, which is a feature of the male of the species. Females make do with being plain old brown. Things get creepy when you hear how they bite. Their fangs are located at the back of their jaw, so they have to open their mouths freakishly wide to get you. And it doesn't get any better from there, as victims experience a hemotoxin reaction. The venom attacks your red blood cells. Your blood doesn't clot, and then you start bleeding to death in a slow and gruesome fashion. You'll be pleased to hear there is an anti-venom to protect against this lovely but lethal character. King Cobra. The most famous snake we're talking about today is Ophiophagus hanna, though you know it best as King Cobra. There's a reason why it's the king. Not only is it the longest poisonous snake in the world, reaching lengths of a terrifying 5 meters in some cases, but it's also the scariest. Even a 6-foot explorer would get a shock as it rears up to look at him or her square in the eye. Then there's the trademark hiss, accompanied by the flaring of its hood. The king is very much a carnivore, and a bite contains enough neurotoxin to kill not just 1, but 20 people. Thankfully, he keeps himself to himself and generally eats other snakes, lizards, and smaller fry. His kingdom as such is a rainforest or plain in India, South China, or Southeast Asia. Though he can be a basket case, being trapped inside one that is, as part of a snake charmer's attraction. While the snake appears to dance to the music of the charmer's flute, it doesn't actually hear the ambient sound, so follows the motion of the instrument instead. Saw-scaled viper. Snakes are known for their powerful bite, but it isn't just in their mouth you find sharp objects. Take the saw-scaled viper, which can be found in dry environments like Africa, Arabia, and India. Why are they called saw-scaled vipers? That's because they're named after the serrated scales that are visible on the sides of their body. They move in a sidewinder motion which creates an intimidating hiss as these scales rub together. If you hear this, better keep your distance as the viper is giving you a warning. Another way to spot one is via its pear-shaped head and stout appearance. The biggest examples are 0.9 meters, so they're not enormous. However, they are definitely not to be messed with when they come out at night. Unlike other snakes we're talking about, they don't shrink away and are on the aggressive side. When it comes to killing humans, these little fellas top the charts. Tiger snake. These deadly snakes are bad enough without being named after other predators. Meet the tiger snake, who shares a name with a ferocious man-eating cat. They're called this due to the distinctive yellow striping you see on some specimens. Confusingly though, not all tiger sharks are striped. Found in Australia, they enjoy wet environments such as swamps and lagoons. Having said that, they can also be seen in open forests, growing anywhere up to 2.1 meters. While they mainly stay on the ground, they have been observed climbing trees. And as they are diurnal hunters, which means they come out during the day, you should be able to notice them easily. Not that the tiger snake would be interested in you in the first place. It favors the taste of things like frogs and fish, as well as smaller mammals. That doesn't mean you can't make it angry, and if you do, it raises its head up like a cobra. The strong neurotoxin in its venom can kill, making this a formidable threat in the wild. Coastal taipan. The coastal taipan, which can be found in the warmest parts of Australia and New Guinea, is a particularly fascinating yet deadly snake. This very poisonous creature gets its name taipan from the Wik-Mungkan people of the Cape York Peninsula. The name was then popularized by an anthropologist who famously caught and milked the snake for its venom. So even though it's a nasty predator, the coastal taipan had a pretty embarrassing time of it. You know this animal is bad news due to the shape of its head. Believe it or not, it's shaped like a coffin. The coloring is less easy to define because it can alter with the seasons. So look out for that distinctive noggin, which is attached to a body that grows anywhere between 2 and 3 meters in length. Spotting it is relatively easy due to the fact that it moves along with its head held high, making use of its superb eyesight to spot possible prey. Although it likes natural environments, the taipan can also hang out at places like rubbish dumps where it has access to juicy things such as rats. It isn't a quick death with this snake. It bites its prey, then lets it crawl away before finding and consuming it later. Brutal. Belcher's sea snake. While some snakes are named after predators like tigers, others take their names from humans. In 1849, the British explorer Sir Edward Belcher discovered this dangerous species of sea snake, which evolved from Australian land snakes. It was given the title Hydrophis belcheri, or Belcher's snake for short. It lives in Southeast Asia and Oceania, and looks like a regular snake with some slight differences. For example, it has a tail that resembles a fish tail more than a snake's tail. Belcher's sea snake can reach a length of up to 3 meters, though it's usually more like a meter or so. Also, just because it lives underwater, that doesn't mean it can survive down there indefinitely. It must come up for air after around 8 hours because it needs to breathe. Additionally, it doesn't swim below 100 meters as it requires warm water and sunlight for its cold-blooded biology. It isn't interested in biting humans, though it does contain an epic amount of venom, enough to put 100 men in the morgue. This snake is much more likely to go for a fish than anything without gills, just as well for us as the snake is billed as the planet's most venomous. Black mamba. One of the world's deadliest snakes is also one of the world's most misunderstood. Let's start with the name. It's called black mamba, but the color of its head and body is in fact more like olive, gray, or brown. The black parts come from its mouth. When its jaws gape at you, the inside is blue-black. Combine this with local legends from South and East Africa about how powerful it is, and you have one massively hyped snake. That's not to say you aren't in trouble if you annoy a black mamba. It's venomous for sure, and its poison can kill in 20 minutes. But the way it shows its anger is what makes it special. Like the cobra, it raises up its body, and it also has neck flaps which part as it hisses at those who corner it. Yet, it is also incredibly fast, moving at a rate of 12.5 miles per hour. Speed-wise, it must be like being chased by a car. The mamba will then bite you, not once but multiple times, to make sure you really get the point, so to speak, of the deadly venom. Finally, we come to the part we mentioned about snakes being able to lose their heads and stay alive for some time after. Before you say, wait a minute, let us explain. Yes, it's true that if you were to face a deadly poisonous snake and somehow you won the battle by decapitating it, you might want to hold off on celebrating. Snakes have heat-sensitive pits on both sides of their faces that they use to detect threats or their prey. It turns out that these heat-sensitive pits are capable of detecting a threatening presence for hours after death, and this rattlesnake doesn't care if it's missing its body or not. We hope that doesn't give our viewers nightmares. Just stay safe out there where you know there might be snakes. Make sure to give the video a like if you enjoyed it and click the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you won't miss another video. Thanks for watching.